Well, Mike mentioned Lyft. Let's take a look at it. It is losing more than a third of its market value. And this comes after a rough fourth quarter earnings report last night. The company barely beating on revenue for the most recent quarter. And next quarter isn't looking much better. The company is expecting a miss on revenue and contribution margin alongside with a minuscule adjusted EBITDA. So that profitability bend that it's been on looking weak right now. The street certainly not thrilled, issuing at least 8 downgrades from buy to hold so far today. Now, if the company cannot regain an audience, is there appetite for a buyer? Uber, of course, does not need to bother with a flagging competitor, can let it flounder here. Didi's still trying to recover from Beijing's crackdown. And DoorDash CEO Tony Xu has made it clear that he doesn't see any benefit in ride sharing for food delivery. The fact we're having this conversation, John, says a lot. This is a company that went public at a more than $20 billion valuation. Kind of same story with Uber, really. These gig companies worth a lot more in private markets haven't lived up to their expectations. I guess the question now, does Uber continue to ride higher on Lyft's miserable quarter? And what happens to Lyft?
Yeah, what happens to Lyft? I mean, this is shockingly bad. They actually beat in line on revenue and profit for the quarter. It was the guide that it's so bad. And sign of the times, the revenue was weak, contribution margin was weak, and analysts just questioning whether there's any leverage here to be had, whether they're going to grow into profitability. Wedbush saying last night's Lyft call was a top 3 worst call we have ever heard. Ever heard. And they go from outperform to neutral. I mean, what does it take to get a sell? What does it take to get a sell? But yeah. I guess maybe you're neutral if you think somebody might buy them, but you just laid out some of the reasons why a buyer is going to be hard to find. Even if Didi wanted to, you think the government would look kindly on a Chinese company having insight into where we are? I mean, yeah, probably not great. Carl.
I do love the B of A desk today, D. 2 years ago, the bull case on rides, they argue, was that all the VC money was going to start drying up and those little competitors that were nipping at their heels would go away. Now you're left with a huge #1 player who is generating free cash flow, self-funding, has 10 years of experience all around the world, and that's just bad news for Lyft.